everyone, it's Silvia from Filataro. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm very excited because I'm going to make my way to the International Convention Center in Sydney, where they're holding the second Mind, Body, Spirit convention of 2024. And so I'm going to take you with me. We're going to film. There's going to be the Rock Pool stand, the Blue Angel stand, and hopefully a lot of other small businesses from Australia that I always want to support. So let's have a look. So the first thing that I do every time that I go to the MBS is I look for the rock pool stand, and I always have a reason. I always look for the latest edition of the Seasons of the Witch Oracles. So I do have almost all of them. The only one that I'm missing, unfortunately, was not on the stand, so they were not selling it. Is the Ostara edition. Hopefully it will come out. I believe that on Amazon it says that it's going to be released in Australia in January next year. It's a pity because I know that it has been pre-released to some tarot tubers for review, but I unfortunately, and I would have loved to be able to show it to you today, but unfortunately it wasn't there. I couldn't find it. However, I did find some really beautiful, very interesting decks, and it's these three. So we're looking at the Earth Song Oracle, the Wise Woman Oracle, the green edition, because if you have seen this before in a copper brown kind of a box, you will know that they're actually coming out with different editions of this deck. This is by Cheyenne Zarat. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna do it like this because I do not know how to pronounce this name. And by the way, may I just say, so this is the fourth, is it? Yes, the fourth week of October, or Spooktober, because that's how I call it. And you will see that I'm actually wearing these nails, which I believe they're called stiletto or long stiletto or super freaking long stiletto, or it's impossible to do anything with them on stilettos. I love them. I have to say though that I did promise you guys that I was going to show you when they glow in the dark. The problem is that I tried and they actually don't glow in the dark, which is very disappointing. But then again, I could have known, because generally speaking, for something to glow in the dark, they should have some kind of a I don't know, a layer of that powder. I don't even know what it is because I don't know, but it should have a layer of that powder, you know, here on the top where the bones are. But these are completely smooth, and as a matter of fact, I believe that they actually have been lacquered. So there's a very smooth layer of lacquer on top of the nails. I did try though, so I put the nails under a strong light for like 5 minutes, and then I went into a really dark corner of the room and I could not see anything. So they unfortunately do not glow in the dark. I'm sorry, I cannot show you that. However, I cannot complain because these nails were literally $5 Australian. So obviously I cannot complain. They actually look really nice. The only thing is that I cannot do anything with them. It is super duper difficult to do anything. And I realize now that I have something like 7 decks that I need to unwrap and open and show you. So it's gonna be fun. Stay tuned and you're gonna have a lot of laugh. And let's see. So as I was saying, this one, there was a previous edition with different cards, obviously, and it was a copper colored box. And this one is completely new. I have not seen it before. I don't know when it's been released. And this one was super fun because they were actually selling this you could actually look at all the cards, and to be fair, you could look at the cards of all of the decks that were on sale on the stand, which is always very nice because let me tell you, not everyone does that. And it is true that sometimes when you go to a stand that sells decks, you can ask for the boxes to be open and look at the cards. But generally speaking, not everyone is happy to do that because they know that they cannot resell that particular deck. But in any case, yeah, rock pool stand was really cool. Plenty of things. And let's see how am I doing with opening stuff without cutting myself. So we're gonna start with the daily gratitude cards for daily gratitude. This is, so it's similar to affirmation cards, I believe. And it's not, obviously not a tarot deck, it's not an oracle deck, but I had a look at the cards and I really like them. And so this is actually an idea that I have for my members, because we do, every week we do a energies of the week reading. And so I use a different deck for each month. And this month we're using a deck that the official name is Rainbow Brain Skull, but with my members we're actually calling it Get Roasted Oracle, because it is absolutely, that's what it is. It's getting roasted. If you read any card from that deck, you're gonna get roasted. Sometimes there are really positive messages, but somehow they find a way to punch you in the face even when you're giving you a positive message. So I am actually hoping that these ones are a bit more gentle, a bit more kind. I really love the 60s vibes with these colors and the really big flowers and, you know, the teacup or coffee cup. I believe it's a teacup. And be thankful every day. So we're looking at 40 cards, which is okay. I mean, we always prefer 44, but to be honest with you, this is not an oracle deck and it was not conceived as an oracle deck. So it is absolutely fine. It's funny because generally speaking the belly band is horizontal, but this is vertical, so it's the first time that I've seen this, but I'm going to remove it as usual. Do you see how much I'm struggling with these nails? I don't know if anyone has any suggestion on how to have a happier life and at the same time wear these nails, please let me know. But let me just remove these ones so we can make a bit more room to see the cards. So obviously we're looking at the messages right there, but we also have something at the back of the cards. So for example, this one, really beautiful. The waves of life can be up and down, absolutely. So I like that we start with something that is neutral, that is balanced and grounded, because yes, it is an affirmation card, but at the same time, it actually carries a message that, you know, can be addressed in one of those days. And so think of a time you were feeling low or had a negative experience. How can you use this experience in a new light? What is something positive that came from this time? Rewrite the story with a brighter perspective. So I'm loving this because, let me just zoom in so we can see it even better. I'm loving this because this can be definitely used as a daily card pull, but you can also journal with this. There's a couple of prompts there, as you can see. You can also use it for meditation, for example, if that's your practice. You do you, but at the same time, I believe that it's always a plus when we have a deck that offers us different ways of using it. So you embody growth and transformation. You find yourself facing two paths. I'm really loving the vibes, the 60s vibes. Look, there's a deck of cards there. Obviously, appreciate the simple things in life, absolutely. So toasting your bread, drinking water, listening to music. Although it's funny because you do see a cell phone here, which obviously you wouldn't have in the 60s. You see a book, but you also see a one of the old ways to listen to an album, a record. I believe it's called turntable. I don't know. Sorry, I am not that young, I have to say, and I did have one of these, of course, but I only had it when I was in Italy. So I actually know the Italian name for this, and I don't have the English name in my knowledge. That's fun. So I like that we have these really beautiful messages in the cards at the bottom of the cards here, as you can see, but at the same time you can flip the card and work on it as well. And really loving the colors, the color association with the graphics of the card. Definitely very 60s. Very freak. Very freaking nice. So really, really cool. I don't know if you have ever seen this deck. I did not know. Oh, I love this one. Give thanks for a wonderful day, with all of the photos drying up. So I had never seen before, you know, when I went to the rock pool stand, I had never seen this deck in circulation. And it is really, really so much fun. I actually really like it. Find the visual reminder of gratitude, share a small act of kindness. So I'm really loving the vibes, as I said, loving the colors, the 60s vibes, and also I believe that the messages are actually really well balanced. So what we're going to do, we're going to try and shuffle. So I can only overhand shuffle this way, because with these nails, seriously, it's gonna be fun. Guys, it's gonna be a fun week, because as I promised, I'm going to wear these nails for all of the videos. Sorry, that I will be posting this week, so it will be really cool. And then, since we have another 4 or 5 days in October, and I have used all of the 4 settled nails that I was showing you guys, I get to choose the next set of nails. So, and it will not be, let me tell you, it will not be these ones, because yes, I love them, but they are so difficult to, they make life really difficult. I think that after a while you kind of get used to use your fingers in a different way, but still. Okay, now I don't want to look at the messages at the back. This is one of the things about these decks, that obviously when they have a message on the back, you kind of look and you see what you're picking when you're pulling just one card. But let's do this. So I'm gonna pick this card here, which is not coming out. Hello. Okay. So what does it say? You embody growth and transformation. Fantastic. Especially because of transformation. I'm so focusing on transformation these days, because with my members we're actually studying, we're doing a deep dive of the Awakening Tarot by Monica Bodirsky, which is all about alchemy. So alchemy and transformation is obviously, they go hand in hand. So you embody growth and transformation. Let me just double check the message at the back. Everything you've experienced has led you to where you are now. Yeah, well, yes, okay, I am agreeing with that. Take a moment to reflect on how you've grown and changed. What are some tangible markers of your growth and transformation? Reflect and send appreciation to honor the power of your growth. Really lovely. I will definitely journal with this card today. I really you know, if you like a simple deck, it's very affordable. If you like a simple deck with some really beautiful vibes, 60s colors, but also at the same time really balanced messages that you can use for journaling, as I said, meditation, and just in general in your tarot practice, I highly recommend this deck. It's actually really cool. So it's called the Cards for Daily Gratitude, and it's a rock pull release. And let's move on to the other couple of decks that I got the other day when I was at Mind, Body, Spirit. Let me just zoom out again because we need more room. And by the way, I love my display of skulls and, you know, and jack-o'-lanterns and everything. But it is taking more and more of my reading space. So in November, this is all gonna go, apart from a couple of skulls probably, because I love skulls year round, not just during Halloween. But I'm gonna need more room, and so those, probably these ones, you know, the ones with, which are really cool, by the way. But these ones are typical for Halloween, and so I will probably remove these ones. So let's just do this, and it's really difficult not to damage the box, but at the same time, you know, do it in an effective way without actually cutting yourself with these nails. Anyway, so this one, as I said, Earth Song, Oracle Guidance and Wisdom from Mother Nature by Ton Ellis. I love the feel of the box. It's almost as if it were a linen kind of print on the box itself and the back at the same time. So let's open this up. Time in nature is never wasted. I actually agree with that. So I'm counting on a very earthy kind of deck when we're talking about chemical elements, of course. And an earthy deck for me needs to be grounding or balancing, you know. These are the backs, by the way. Let's remove the belly band. Really nice backs, I have to say. They are reversible. I don't really tend to read oracle decks with reversals. I don't particularly think that we should always associate a reverse meaning to the meaning of an oracle deck. But I know that there's a lot of people who do, so that's always very nice when you can do that. I don't know if you see this, but this is a really lovely copper edging to the cards. Really, really lovely. And it's in tune, let's say, with all of the oranges of my jack-o'-lanterns and my pumpkins here. So really, really appreciate this. We got a guidebook here, and generally speaking, I am an advocate for always reading the guidebooks. You guys know that. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you will know how much I always advocate for reading the guidebooks, because even if you know tarot, even if you're an expert reader, it doesn't matter. Reading the guidebook, first of all, it's an act of respect, because if someone actually made the effort of releasing a guidebook and writing something about the creation, you know, the tarot deck that they've created, it means that they actually had something to say. But for me, it's also a matter of trying and understand what the creative process was. So what was the creator thinking when they were thinking about the crystal card, for example, or the fruit card, for example. And in many cases, even if it's a tarot deck, and even if it's a RWS clone, and obviously we all know how to read those ones, we don't necessarily need the guidebook, but we do it anyway. We read it anyway because it may eventually give us an additional layer of interpretation of the cards themselves. And so I, for one, am very humble, and I always admit that I always read the guidebooks. I don't need them, but I probably do need them, not to understand the meaning of the card, but to understand what the creator was thinking, as I said. So really beautiful, guidebook as well. As you've seen, it's got the colored thumbprint of the cards, and then you got a little bit of description here. So we got the moon's song, the moon's advice. So this one is obviously relating to the moon card, but if we look at the stars, so you got the star song and the star's advice. You do have a couple of keywords and also a message here. So it's really interesting. It's not just, so yes, it is the Earth song, but at the same time, I think it's referring mostly to nature or elements in nature, and not just to elements that I would normally associate with the element of Earth. Which is absolutely fine. I'm already thinking about which tarot decks to use in a combo with this oracle deck, but let me just show you the cards. So we got Mountain, for example, which is card number 1, with strength, constancy, unmoving. And then we do have a message here that says, remain confident in yourself and your path. That's very nice. I like the fact that we got a title, we got a couple of keywords, and also an affirmation or a message. Oh wow, that's a really beautiful card. River, journey, flow, surrender, trust your journey and go with the flow. Fantastic. Wildflower, lotus, seed, potential, hope, interconnection. Your potential is infinite. Have hope for the future. So I really love the earthy tones of the cards. Really think that it's a beautiful, very communicative, very talkative kind of combination between the artwork itself, which is rather minimalist, if I may say, but at the same time there is the intentional use of color. And with the intentional use of color of the characters on the cards, you can also infer that there is intention in the choice of the background colors as well. So I'm actually really appreciating, really liking the combination of these two choices of color palettes in the cards. I don't find the borders obnoxious. They're not bothering me at all. Many of the elements on the images on the card actually go beyond the borders, so they don't contain the images. As you can see clearly here, for example, they're not framing the images. Sometimes I actually like when borders frame any image, but in this case it doesn't feel like they're containing it, they're framing it. It just shows you know, almost as if it were drawing our attention to the center of the card where the main character is. So I'm absolutely fine with these kind of borders. I have to say, for a person that keeps saying that I prefer borderless cards, whenever I do see a border that is actually well thought of, then I have no problems in admitting that I like it. So there's only 36 cards, which is not, you know, it's not ideal. I think that we all agree in the tarot community that we do prefer at least 44 cards. When it's 40 and up, then, you know, I consider myself happy. But Los Carabeo, for example, keeps on releasing decks with 32, 33 cards, 36 cards, and that's not okay. It's just not enough. And to be honest with you guys, when we like an oracle deck, don't we want to see more cards? I mean, to me, it's just a matter of saying, you know, I actually appreciate this deck, and I would love to see more cards of that. And so that goes with the same goes with this deck as well. I would have loved to see at least 40, 42, 44 cards like this. They're really, really beautiful though. So I am thinking about trying on a pairing. So let me just shuffle this first. Okay, so I do have a deck that I wanted to try and pair with this one, and it's this one here. It's called the Coffee and Tarot by Layla Champagne and Bob Smithies, or Smithies. Sorry, Bob, but I actually don't even know how to pronounce your family name, but in any case, this is the one here. So this is a Kickstarter reward. It was a Kickstarter campaign that was launched, I believe, back in probably mid-April, end of April. I don't exactly remember. So the creators are actually from New South Wales, so the region, the state of New South Wales, which is in Australia. They live just a few hundred kilometers north from Sydney. So I am a proud supporter. You guys know that. I am a proud supporter of Australian businesses, especially when it comes to small businesses. And so I actually supported, I talked about this campaign whilst it was still on in my best Kickstarters of 2024 so far, in my video video, and I'm really happy that I received this deck. It's actually really cool. So obviously it centers around coffee and taro, which is something that we all do more or less. I mean, I do see a lot of us drinking tea or drinking a hot cocoa when we're doing tarot, but probably most of us, when we do that morning pull, you know, just pulling a card and it's morning and you just want the coffee to wake up and to be able to face the cards that you're going to pull. So it actually is a really, I say, a common theme to tarot, to be associating it with coffee. So Layla has got a Facebook page which is called Literally Coffee and Tarot, and I believe that you can contact her via that Facebook page if you want to purchase this deck. I know that outside of the Kickstarter campaign there's a few more decks available, so if you want it, I highly recommend getting in touch with her. Let me just show you how beautiful these bags are, and this is literally the same kind of color palette, so I really love combining and just trying and see how they communicate with each other, these two decks. The backs are absolutely gorgeous with these two cups of coffee, and as you can see they are reversible. So this one, I have filmed an unboxing of this deck, but I haven't started using it yet, so it's still in order. So let me just give it a quick shuffle. Okay, so that was fun. I tried to bridge and refill shuffle and I lost 2 nails, and in my experience, when you start losing them because the adhesive loses the stickiness factor, whatever that's called, then you know, it's very difficult. I have to probably change the adhesive. But in any case, we're back, so let's have a look at how these two pair up together. So we're just gonna try and level this. We're gonna do that, and let's see. So we start with the Tower card. It wasn't intentional, it was just the one card that I got on top, but okay, moving on. So I like to pair up the Star card with the Tower card. So let's have a look, because obviously this is completely improvised. I haven't actually tried and paired these two together. As I said, I think that the backs go really well together. They're absolutely perfect. It's more or less the same kind of color palette. And also I like the fact that the Coffee and Tarot has a very distinct modern feel to it, but at the same time it does remind me a lot of the Cosmic Cycles Tarot. And I remember talking about this deck during the Kickstarter campaign, and I was saying I really wanted to back this deck because this is the Cosmic Cycle Tarot that I missed out on. So I actually, ever since then, I've actually acquired a copy of the Cosmic Cycles, but I would still like to use this deck because it really gives a very nice kind of vibe, and the energy that it's got is very, I would say it's very earthy, and that's one of the reasons why I thought it would go well with the Earth Song Oracle. But let's try and have a look. So when we look at the meanings of the cards, for example, we got the Nine of Swords with the Oasis, Refuge, Safety, Respite. Seek respite, find safety and peace. I would definitely combine these two together. Obviously, when you're going through a Nine of Swords situation, perhaps it is very helpful to remind yourself to find your own safety net, to find the space where you feel safe, where you can actually you know, take a break, rest for a moment and just recuperate your energy, because obviously you're going through something that stimulates your anxiety. The Nine of Swords is the card that wakes you up at 3 a.m. because you all of a sudden think about something that seems impossible to overcome. And that's just the darkness of the hour, you know. And then probably if you find the refuge for at least until dawn, then you will see that the light of the day can eventually make you feel a little bit different about what you were thinking about in the middle of the night. So the Eagle card with wisdom, freedom, loyalty with the Emperor. Seek wisdom and balance, but don't sacrifice freedom. That's a lovely card. I really appreciate this message. It's very interesting. Even though I have to say this looks a lot like Icarus, which is not the best story, let's say, because obviously he flew too close to the sun, and then, you know, the wax that was keeping together the feathers of the wings melted, and then he unfortunately fell to his demise. So obviously we need to be very careful about doing that. We got the Hierophant with the sun and passion, power, positivity. Remember to be joyous and have a positive outlook on life. Absolutely. You can see the sun in the Hierophant in the sense that obviously the Hierophant has the role of illuminating, shedding the light and teaching, but always at the same time the cyclical motion between studying, learning and teaching, and continuously studying and learning and teaching in order to be able not to get too dogmatic about something. So there is this really strong power behind the Hierophant as well. And the Page of Swords with ocean, death, darkness, unknown. Obviously with the Page of Swords, we're looking at someone who's always constantly asking why. It is a bit of the archetype of the detective, the person that always wants to understand how things work and goes deeper. So the Ocean card resonates with that. And the Ace of Wands with the Shell card, eternity, protection and safety. You are protected and safe. Or the King of Cups with the Bee, work, productivity, cooperation, work diligently and be productive. Can I just say, this is one of my favorite cards because of the dog. And I keep on thinking this is probably rather a Siberian Husky rather than an Alaska Malamute. I'm not an expert, so I can't tell those two apart, but they are really lovely. Even though a bit dramatic, I would say dogs. The Ten of Swords with a rainbow, hope, balance, magic. Do you see how this oracle actually does serves as a balancing deck to some of the cards in the tarot? I really like the way these two, communicate together and give the possibility to work on the messages. So I'm liking these two together. Probably the aesthetics is not as good as I thought it would be. So I'm thinking about pairing this up with another deck, but that will come probably in another video because I'm thinking I have so many other decks to show, and otherwise we're gonna stay here for hours. But really beautiful, this deck, the Earth Song Oracle. I'm absolutely in love with it. So now let's have a look at this deck that I was saying this is probably the second edition or a second oracle within this series of oracles. The first one was copper color. This one is sage green, which I really love, by the way, and it's probably one of my favorite colors between teal greens and blue and sage green. And let's see when I open this up without damaging anything. So obviously this one, I'm kind of thinking whether the first one was related to fire and this one could be related to earth. I'm not entirely sure. Wise Woman Oracle. I also absolutely love that the character, at least this one on the box here, shows a sign of age. So I'm looking forward to see whether there's age diversity in the deck as well, because we're all kind of used to see oracle decks that have really beautiful model type young people, but we want to see some diversity when it comes to a number of things. Really beautiful, this box with the you can see the owl's ear. So of course it comes with the guidebook that you can see here, and I just don't want to look too much at the guidebook because I have actually not seen the cards. I've just bought it without checking them out, and so I don't want to spoil the experience. We'll have a look at the guidebook later. It does come with another wrap in plastic, which I'm not entirely happy about because I believe that we can actually reduce the consumption of plastic, especially because it was already in a box. There might be some reasons related to humidity, for example, to shield obviously the deck from humidity or damages during the transport, for example. These are the bags, really beautiful, also reversible. And let me try and open this without damaging cards nor my fingers. Okay, so here we go. It's edged in this really dark green, I believe it is. It could also be black, but under this light, let's say, it looks like a very darker kind of shade of green. It's really beautiful. I have to say it is semi-gloss, so it may catch the light a little bit. It's not super glossy like a US Games Oracle, for example. So we've got the image, obviously we've got the title, Burning Times, and we also have a keyword, which I always appreciate because sometimes title don't necessarily take you straight away to the meaning of the card, but keywords will. One thing that I have to say that was one of the reasons why I did not get the copper color edition is that we see a lot of borders, especially at the bottom. I understand that this is needed because we've got both title and keyword. However, at the same time, it seems to be taking away a little bit of the beauty of the image on the cards themselves. And I would have probably prefer a thinner border. I mean, it's not a deal breaker by any means. The beauty of the artwork still shows a lot. So this card is really beautiful. It's called All Hallows Eve Purification and the Beauty of the Crown. So this is the same image that we could see on the box as well, even though it's been mirrored or it's been flipped on the other side. Yule's Embrace. So we've got all, we got Samhain, we got Yule. So I'm Saraswati. Okay, so we got a lot of diversity when it comes to the characters as well. Bridget, of course. So we go from Saraswati to Bridget, the Handless Maiden, Vesna. So we have a few Clara's Dance. It will be very interesting to go through the guidebook at a certain point because Aradia, I see a lot of gods and goddesses, or just goddesses for now. I don't see any male, but they do come from a diverse background of cultures, so that's obviously very interesting. Dia de los Muertos, for example, of course, referring to La Santa Muerte and the way it's celebrated, the 31st of October in Mexico. Baba Yaga, which is of a Slavic origin, Sedna, Lilith. So I'm really I'm really interested to go through the guidebook and see the association. We have Frida with self-identity. That's very nice. Cinderella. Okay, so we also have, some fairy tales characters, of course. Cinderella, have courage and be kind with graciousness. And obviously Cinderella was always depicted this way, speaking to the bird, for example. So yes, Athena as well, Hecate, torchbearer of truth, and practical magic. And it looks like we're looking at Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman here. So if you haven't watched that movie, it's actually from, I think it's already been 30 years, which is crazy to think about that, but it was a really cool movie. Oh, that's a really powerful card. Aquilanda, she who is never not broken. Wow, that's a very powerful message there. So let me just, in order to be, looking at the guidebook, this card really caught my attention. So I just want to double check what the message is for this card in specific. So we got card 31. And we got, how can I vulnerably and compassionately embrace my brokenness so I can reinvent a self that is stronger, wiser, and more beautiful within. That's a really beautiful message. And then I hope that we're looking at a little bit of an explanation of the character on the card. So the mysterious Hindu goddess whose name translates to she who is never not broken reminds us that within the darkest times we are at our most powerful, as there is nothing left to lose. Aquilanda is the essence of the phoenix, encouraging us to let our ego's idea of who we think we are go up in flames so we can recreate a more authentic version of ourselves. Depicted with her body divided in many floating pieces. I was about to say, because it looks a lot like kintsugi, the Japanese art of putting back together the pieces of something broken with the gold or silver paste for something to look even more beautiful. Depicted with her body divided in many floating pieces, Aquilanda teaches us to embrace imperfection and change, If we never experienced heartbreak or disaster, we would never have the opportunity to evolve. Absolutely true. Aquilanda tells us that the liminal space where we don't know how to move forward is an empowering place. There we get to consciously choose how we want to put ourselves back together. That's a very kintsugi, sounds like. Symbolism: Aquilanda's mode of transportation, a ferocious crocodile, represents our primal instincts. Instead of suppressing her fear, Aquilanda rides it down the river. As the crocodile spins its prey and in its jaws, disorienting it so it drowns, Aquilanda spins us in her jaws until we are so confused about who we are that we can only allow our ego's identity and attachments to dissolve. The Japanese art form of kintsugi. Well, there you go. I had no idea that we're going to bring kintsugi about, but there you go. In which broken pottery is fixed by infusing gold into the cracks, is based on the idea that in embracing flaws we can create a stronger, more beautiful piece of art. Okay, we are always able to alchemize our pain, yeah, absolutely, and insecurities into greater wisdom and beauty. When we release our assumptions and illusions, we can bring our darkness into the light and embody the truth that we can never truly be broken because we always are. And then we got a reflection. I'm not going to read all of it. So this is a very interesting concept, and obviously I was familiar with Aquilanda in a slightly different way though. I do remember that the mode of transportation is always very powerful when you look at Ganesha, for example, or Hanuman. They always have their mode of transportation, and sometimes it's a Garuda, which is a sacred eagle. So it's always very interesting to see the difference of what I would say the mode of transportation, but it's definitely someone, something or an animal or a sacred animal that is always accompanying the god and goddesses. So really interesting, really curious to work with the other cards as well, especially because I don't know all of them. So obviously that will enrich my knowledge in this case. Really beautiful deck. Let me know what you think about this one. If you have the copper color one, let me know, because I don't have it, so I'm very curious to understand how it differs from that one, if it's still looking at a diverse background of gods and goddesses and characters, or if it's centered on animals, for example, or on something else. It will be very interesting to see. So the next couple of decks that I want to show you, let me just zoom out if I can. Nope, that's as far as it goes. The next couple of decks I want to show you, I had a really wonderful experience to meet a person that was at the Mind Body Spirit Festival, and she's an artist, but she's also integrating her passion for, let's say, nature, and also her passion for helping and be compassionate towards people. And so she's actually created a couple of oracle decks, and I bought both of them. So this one is the Woodland Wisdom, and this one is the Whispers from the Woods. And I'm talking about Caris Martin. So she gave me this card with, let's say, a little bit of an introduction of her work. She's also giving out workshops, and let me tell you, the art that she was selling at her stand was really incredible, absolutely beautiful. And let me just give you another example of something. So this is, the art style that I really, really love, because at the same time it gives me this really earthy kind of vibes, but there's also some kind of an intersection with the fairy world or the fae world, which is really beautiful. There's a power of nature and its representation with really bold and shiny colors that I really appreciate, but at the same time there is this sense of magic, and the magic, it's almost as if we were talking about a pagan approach to magic, as you can see here, for example, as well. So I really like, this kind of art style, and I had a possibility to have a look at these two decks, and so I bought both of them because they're really beautiful. Let me just open them up. Okay, so we've got this one here, which is the Woodland Wisdom. Really nice tuck box, and let's open the deck. So we'll see I believe that one of the two is a more proper oracle deck, and this one here may be the affirmation deck. I'm not entirely sure. Let me just double check. As you can see, this is the art style, and it's really beautiful, and ironically it does remind me a little bit of Stephanie Puimon Lau, or Lau, Stephanie Lau. I believe that the latest deck that she's worked on was the Tree Keeper's Oracle, which I actually unboxed in my latest video. And the name as credited on the deck is just Stephanie Lau or Lo. So I don't know whether that is a change that she now goes by that name. In any case, you all know who I'm talking about. She's also the illustrator of the Shadowscapes Tarot, which is absolutely magnificent. And also, I believe the Firefox Oracle, I'm not entirely sure, but it's really this beautiful style. And Carrie Martin's style really reminds me of that style as well. So it could be an idea to pair up this with that tarot deck or that oracle deck. So this one is more like, you know, you see there's an image on the card, but there's also quite a fair bit of an information on the card and a message. So this one, I believe, is more like the affirmation cards. The other one is more like an oracle. So I form the front line and harness my inner leader. I take initiative and blaze my own trail in life. My life experiences have made me strong. The hardships I have faced have become my strength that help me fulfill my potential. I take the lead in my life. So that's really beautiful. Obviously, there's a few cards actually here, so it would be very interesting. I believe it's very grounded. I had the possibility to read a couple of cards before I purchased the deck. And it is very well balanced in the sense that there's a little bit of a mix between affirmation cards and, you know, encouraging cards, gratitude cards, but also creativity related cards. So there's a lot to be done when using this deck. Whether you want to use it for your daily pull, for example, and then, you know, keep the card with you at all times during the day and reflect on it. Or you might want to do some journaling with it, or you might want to do some meditation. This is, okay, so we found this card should have been at the top. So basically it explains how to use this that she calls the affirmation deck. So fair enough, it's part of your daily routine to help you connect to your higher self, to find answers in difficult situations, and to strengthen your mind and self-talk. Really, really beautiful. I have to say, I do believe that either both of them or just the oracle that came with a really nice book as well. It was a bit outside my budget, because when I go to Mind, Body, Spirit and all these kind of festivals and convention, I always use my own money. So this is completely unrelated. I'm not affiliated to Charis Martin or to Rockpool or Blue Angel or anyone else. And I always pay with my own money. So obviously I need to, you know, sometimes you need to stay within a certain budget. But I'm always grateful about the opportunity to check out, you know, our beautiful Australian creators that come out with such amazing products, even when it comes to oracle decks. Now the second one is this one here. So I remember this is the more proper, let's say, Oracle Whispers from the Woods. So let me just open this one as well. Okay, so the same kind of art style, really, really beautiful, I have to say. I'm really enjoying looking at this, these cards. There you go. So we got another card here that got stuck. So let's have a look if this one, yeah, probably the first one. So we just put it here. There you go. So they come in alphabetical order. It looks like the borders tell you some different, the cards belong to a different category. I'm not entirely sure. I should have probably, so there is a possibility to download the PDF file of the guidebook for this deck as well. And by the way, Caris also ships overseas. So she's based in Australia, but she also ships overseas. So if you're interested in this deck, I will make sure to try and put the link in the description box below. Now, a few of you have noticed that in the last couple of months, I had trouble with linking the decks. And that was a problem that I encountered back in May. I was contacted contacted by YouTube. They told me, the customer service told me that all of my links from all of the videos in May were corrupted. So even though I couldn't really see that, but basically all of the links were corrupted, and they were working on a solution, but they never got back to me. So now I'm kind of scared of putting a link there because I don't know whether it's actually going to work or not. In any case, I'll try my best and see if it works. So really beautiful art style. I actually do like the borders in this case because they are not lazy borders. There's, you know, these flowers in there, and it does kind of look like it's complementary to the image on the card. And I love the fact that we do have a title, but we also have a keyword. And that's the way I like to work with my Oracle deck. So we got legacy for the badger, for example, balance for the bear, contribution for the bee, learn with the beach, and cleanse with the birch. Let's look at the images. They're so beautiful. I really like them. And I'm already thinking, I already know which tarot deck to use and pair up with this, because it does remind me of a couple of decks that I've got. So really, really beautiful art style. I'm absolutely in awe of what an artist can actually produce, because you guys know me, I'm not artistic, unfortunately. The only expression that I have of creativity is through photography. But I cannot draw to save my life. I literally cannot. I can't even draw a flower, and I kid you not, it's that bad. And so whenever I see someone who can express their creativity through art, and in such a beautiful and very deep and powerful way, I'm always really shocked, because I'm like, wow, human beings can be very artistic when they want to be. And I really love also the association between the colors. I actually really appreciate these kind of intense blues, saturated blues and greens and teals. So I'm really, really appreciating this deck. I really like it. But let me try and show you how it pairs up with a tarot deck that I'm thinking about. So the first set that comes to mind that could pair up really well with this Oracle deck is the Oak Ash and Thorn. I also have the Smoke Ash and Embers, but I think that this one is probably more earthy in tones and vibes, and I believe that it might actually pair up nicely. Let me just remove the info cards that we got, and that's it. So let's have a look. Obviously, we're not looking at the same creator, it's not the same illustrator, there's no affiliations between the two, but you know, sometimes even when the artwork is not 100% the same, there's always a combination of style, energies and vibe that can actually go for a very nice pairing. And I think that we're probably in the same kind of realm, in the same atmosphere, I want to say, when looking at these two together. I'm actually kind of liking this. That looks very nice. Let me know in the comments below, because I know that you guys always have great ideas on other decks to use together. And thanks to you, I actually sometimes even try combinations myself, because you've just been suggesting them, and you have a really keen eye on what goes well together. But I do believe that these two actually do share the same kind of vibes, and there is this kind of you know, combination and conversation that is going on between the cards. I love that we got you know, we got a hare or a wild rabbit here, and the same on the cards as well. So here with transformation and the Knight of Pentacles, which is definitely, you know, we're looking at the Knight of Pentacles as the soldier, basically the one that obeys the orders but also gets things done. And so there is this sense of transforming or getting things done, so completing things, and also we can relate that to the sense of transformation. Responsibility with the Nine of Wands. Sometimes this responsibility is really heavy, and it's going to injure us because we don't, when we don't have the necessary boundaries that we need sometimes. And I'm really liking these two together. Not just because they share obviously the same kind of fauna, so animals, but at the same time I can see, you know, that we have the very similar vibes to these ones. But let me show you another deck that I think will pair up nicely with this oracle. Okay, so I want to try it out with the Forager's Daughter Tarot, which is one of my most cherished tarot decks, and the reason is because I actually entered a giveaway to win this deck, and I never win anything, guys. That's literally, I never win anything in it. I ended up being contacted by the creator, and she was like, you know what, you actually won the giveaway, and I was like, are you serious? Are you serious? Do you want to think twice, because I live in Australia, so the shipping is going to be terrible. But she was absolutely lovely, and she was like, no, you know, fair and square, you won, so obviously I'm going to send it to you. And I was really, really grateful to have the possibility to work with this deck, because it is really beautiful. This is the Forager's Daughter. I have a couple of different editions. So this one is the Afterlight edition. And I believe that perhaps the other edition, which has colored borders, will pair up even more nicely with this oracle deck because of the colors of the border. But I'm not entirely sure, because I don't have that edition. If you do have that edition, let me know what you think in the comments below, because I think that we are looking at very similar vibes as well, very similar kind of art style and color palette. But when it comes to the borders, probably having colored borders would really result in a nice combination. In any case, I'm really loving these two together. We have this sense of, look at this, the Six of Cups with play. Obviously, we're looking at that nostalgic sense of remembering, you know, when life was a lot easier, there were not as many issues and problems and things to solve, and you could actually dedicate yourself to enjoy playing with all of your energy. And Judgment and Wisdom together, absolutely. And the Death card with recognition, perhaps we would need to recognize, it's an invitation to recognize that there is an ending, and this ending is actually bringing the blossoming, the seed of a new beginning within itself. Or the Sun with the Creativity card, which is absolutely something that, you know, under the light of the sun, you can definitely look into producing something new. The Knight of Pentacles we see again with the Trust card. Or the Eight of Swords with hospitality. Perhaps this hospitality has grown to be a bit of a cage, you know, of your own making, because you don't have the energy to get out of that. Or the Page of Cups with determination. The Page of Cups for me is the archetype of the empath. So determination is more like an advice to the Ace of Cups, to the Page of Cups, to protect their own feelings and their own intuition and sensitivity. Or renewals with the Three of Pentacles, you know, working together in a team in order to be able to do something new or perpetuate the work that you're doing. And I love the fact that there is this snake, you know, curvy snake here, and we can see also the path that the ants are following in the Three of Pentacles card. So Page of Swords with guidance. I am absolutely loving these two together. Let me know what you think. I probably like this combo even more than the combo with the Okash and Thorn. But just to try something else out, I am thinking about another deck entirely. So let me just try another one. Okay, so the last deck that I wanted to try out with this oracle is the Walking Meditation Tarot by Daniel Norman. And this is an amazing deck, and it's got some very strong fall vibes to it. I believe it was also featured in my videos, the top 10 decks for the fall season. And I have to say, it is really amazing the way in which it is very conducive of that time of the year, you know, the darker days and the kind of introspections that you feel more likely to do during this time of the year. I really love the fact that it comes with 2 guidebooks. One of them is, you know, just dedicated to obviously reading the deck for divination. meditation, but the other ones is more specific for introspection kind of work. And you can use it when you take some walks. So this is literally walking meditation tarot. So obviously it is encouraging you to go out and take a walk and do some introspective work whilst you do that. So there's obviously different spreads that you can use and prompts for meditation. I have to say, I really like these two together. It feels like they're both sharing this sense of you know, encouraging and seeing nature, and encouraging people to look at nature as something that is part of us, that is all around us, and that we need to be aware of and respect, but also we can get back that sense of being part of it, being part of something bigger than us. So obviously there's more animals in this deck that there are here, because obviously this deck is more focusing on let's say landscapes, but I really like the way you know, in which these two seem to be communicating together. And it's always, as I said, it's always a great sign that I actually like an oracle deck when I have a couple of tarot decks that I can't wait to try out with it. And really beautiful. Let me know, as always, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm always interested to know, you know, if you would pair up this oracle deck with another deck. Always open to suggestions. And I still have a couple of decks, so hang in there, we're going to check them out. But before I show you the decks, I just wanted to draw your attention to this really beautiful skull that I bought from Vanessa at Kaftan 9. So Vanessa's creations are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at how beautiful this skull is. You know, you guys know that I love skulls and skull art. So obviously as soon as I saw her stand, I was immediately drawn to it. And I think that it's really, there's a lot of attention to details, but there's also an expression of profound love for skulls as well, obviously. And I always appreciate that, because it tells something. It does tell something about people when we can actually appreciate the combination between, you know, one skull, which is a bone in our body. So it's obviously the bone that supports the brain, the eyes, the mouth, and the ears and the nose and everything. So it does seem to be reflecting a person's essence, let's say. And then we just love how some artists can decorate the skulls in these amazing ways, and I for one always appreciate this. So I was really stoked to be able to get this. It was very affordable, and I'm hoping for her to be able to be attending also Oddities and Curiosities. So it will be in Sydney in December. If you're in the US, you'll be used to Oddities and Curiosities, because it is an itinerant expo that goes through all of the states, or many states in the US. And there's some really amazing stuff that you can purchase at those expos. So the last two decks that I wanted to show you are from the Blue Angel stand. And it's these two here. So we've got, this one is completely new. It's the Soul Wisdom Oracle, Everyday Enlightenment for All Souls by, sorry, I have to tilt it because I can't read the name, Nicole Miz. And this is a deck that was actually released in full size a couple of years ago. It's the Medicine Heart Oracle by Elena Fairchild with the artwork by Sophie Wilkins. However, this is new because it's the Pocket Panda edition, and I didn't have time to have a look at the cards, but I was told that it is the same cards as the standard edition, just smaller. But I don't understand why it's called the Panda edition. But in any case, it is really cute, and I'm really always there for the minis, you know, what I call the mini decks. So let's have a look first at this one, because this one actually had the opportunity to look at the cards, and I was immediately captivated by the colors and also the cards themselves and the meanings of the cards. So Blue Angel is amazing because they release a lot of decks. They're always very affordable in price, and they always release them first in the Australian market. It is an Australian company, and it's always nice to see that they're doing something also to support a local Australian artist, which is always appreciated. Soul Wisdom Oracle, really beautiful. They always have these really beautiful boxes, by the way. You never go wrong with the Blue Angel deck. I realized that it's almost as if I were giving you a sales pitch for Blue Angel. I'm not affiliated with them, so it's not that. It's just that I really do appreciate what they do with their creations. Now this is the deck, obviously, and this is the guidebook. And guys, it's becoming really, really difficult to handle things with these nails. But in any case, almost to the end of the video, we have this deck and the other deck, and then that's it. So this is the guidebook, and you know, in many cases they have, as you can see here, a full color of the thumbprint of the card. Then we have a fair bit of information for each and every card. We have 2.5 pages for each and every card. So it's always appreciated because it means that you can do a lot of work with these. And I can see that they are divided in different categories, so it would be interesting to see that as well. This is obviously an unboxing, so I'm not going on a deep dive of the deck here. But generally speaking, when I do work with the deck, I do talk about it, tend to talk about the deck in my following videos, especially when I like to pair them up with a tarot or an oracle deck. So let's have a look. It's always interesting that they choose this size or format for their oracle decks, and it is a very beautiful cardstock. The finish is very smooth, I have to say. It is also quite bouncy, so it gives you the idea of being rather durable, although it is thicker than most decks, so obviously, you know, it will go for a thicker deck. So we've got an image, we got keywords here, and we also have a sentence at the bottom of the card, which is always appreciated. So beautiful friendship, a divine connection is blossoming. Amazing. Big angel hug. Big angel hug. How amazing is this? I absolutely love this card. Embraced by wings of pure love. Yes, please. Breakthrough, move beyond your limitations. Absolutely celebrate. I am absolutely loving the inclusivity of this deck. There is so much diversity here. Body shape, color of the skin. I hope I haven't seen any age diversity yet, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to see that too. There's obviously a lot of symbols in the cards as well. It's not just humans, you know. It's always nice. I really like embracing this kind of meaningful decks. You know, it's not just a deck that has the usual keywords as abundance, you know, clarity, transformation. You see those decks that they're beautiful, of course, and like there's a number of oracle decks, you know what I mean, that they're very beautiful because the aesthetics are very beautiful, but at the same time they're interchangeable in the sense that they don't necessarily give you any additional layer of information on the card, so they don't necessarily give you the opportunity to grow together with the cards. But when we're looking at something like this, we not only have a very inspiring keyword, but we also have messages at the bottom, which kind of give you the possibility to use the deck, you know, in a different way, if you so wish, obviously. So speak, for example, yes, no, I feel, I want, I don't know, I know, I think, I choose, I believe. So speak, tell your truth now, which is obviously very beautiful. Spiritual awakening, spiritual upgrade, sweet life, absolutely. Enjoy delight and pleasure. Yeah, I'm all for it, absolutely. The key holder, the mum is the queen, the third eye open. Time to receive, and there's macaroni and cheese in there too, so that's actually really cool. I like the simplicity of this deck, so it's not trying too hard, it's just literally, you know, aiming straight to the heart, and it's I think it's really nice. Loving the backs as well with the sacred geometry. So this is the Soul Wisdom Oracle, and now let's have a look at the last deck that I wanted to show you today. You're probably familiar with this deck. As I said, the original release of this deck was in a full size. But let's have a look at the pocket one. I don't really So I was told that it's exactly the same cards. I'm not entirely sure. I also do not have the full size of this one. So I don't have anything to compare it to. So you'll have to, you know, either you have it and you'll let me know in the comments below, or you'll just believe what I've been told. So let's see, because I think that this is upside down. Yes, it is. Let's see how the cards have been packed. But it looks like they're upright, so it's fine. We still do have a guidebook, which is sometimes you'll notice in these smaller productions, you have the meaning of the cards on the back. And this is also the case here. So let me just show you. So we do have the meaning of the cards here, at least a little bit of information on the cards. But I also am pleased to see that we have a bit of a guidebook here as well. So there's cultural references, and obviously we do have the cards as well. So let me just double check whether we have the same amount of information between the guidebook. I don't think so, because it's not that lot of text here on the back. So this is the medicine circle. So let's go to the card number 1 in here. So there's the introduction. 1 card reading, blessing the deck, cultural references. Okay, so medicine circle, through diverse cultural expressions around the planet, the sacred circle, the medicine circle, is a symbol and a place for healing, which is totally different from the way this one starts. So it says, from the spiritual spaciousness within your heart, medicine circle emanates. Within it, all things are contained, healed, and liberated. So it doesn't look like it starts the same way. I don't know whether... Oh, so it's a rather different kind of description, which is very interesting. So we will have the possibility to gain even more insight whether we read just, you know, the back of the cards, but also the entry in the guidebook. Now, some of these cards, and that was the main reason why I did not actually buy the full size, because randomly some of these cards are landscape, some of them are portrait. Which is, if you have watched my channel for any length of time, you will know how much this is actually throwing me off, because if it were, you know, like, I don't know, half and half, I would still find it acceptable, but this is literally random. Some of them are, as you can see, landscape, and some of them are portraits, and I just don't find it very practical, especially when I do a reading, because then I will have to, you know, improvise, as in, okay, which side do I turn it to? Obviously this side, but I will have to find, you know, more space in order to put the cards. So there's a number of reasons why I don't always like it when decks are like this. So it's fine, it's absolutely fine, it's not a deal breaker at all, and I'm not complaining. I do find it odd though that in some cases it looks like there's a wrong kind of centering of the image, because it feels like, for example, this is a line, I don't know if you can see that, but this is a line and this is another line, but it feels almost as if the card or the image was askew. So, and it's not the first time that I noticed that, so I'm not entirely sure that this is literally just focusing on the center of the card from the full size and just focusing on the faces. Now, it would have been interesting to know, having the full size. So I don't know if you understand what I mean. I don't know if I'm explaining myself, but it does look like it's been just trimmed. You know, they just took the full size card and then they just trimmed it. Which I don't think is the case, but in some cases when you have borders, like in this case, for example, that you have borders, it feels a bit odd, and in this one as well. But it's absolutely fine. I mean, they're really beautiful. The art style is really beautiful, and I do appreciate the opportunity of just flipping the card and reading the message of the cards on the back. So it's actually really nice, and very, very beautiful, earthy vibes and color palette, which I always appreciate. So let me know what you think about this deck in the comments below. I don't know whether it's been released globally, so I know that it has just been recently released in Australia, and as always, Blue Angel starts with Australia and then they progressively release it to the US and then Europe, etc. So you might be able to find this deck available in your local metaphysical store perhaps in a couple of weeks. As always, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, which is really helpful for me because it helps growing my channel. And when I can grow my channel, I can also dedicate more time to producing more content. So it's a win-win situation for all of us. Thank you so much for watching, and for now, have a great day.